My brother, I've been thinking about something. We've talked about this. Let's give the people more. Oh, they're gonna f it up.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews, exclusively here as always on the Casa D18 Studios channel. I, of course, am your host, the Renegade JJ Williams, and today we're going to be discussing the video game turned action flick. No, not Doom. Not going to do that to you guys. We're going to be discussing Rampage, starring Dwayne Johnson, Naomie Harris, Malin Ackerman, Jeffery Dean Morgan, Jake Lacey, and Joe Manganiello. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining me here once again for another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews. Happy Wednesday. And as I said at the top of the show, today I'm going to be discussing the video game turned motion picture Rampage. Not doing Doom this month, trying to spare you guys from that. Maybe down the road a little ways we'll get into Doom. But I decided not to do that to you guys this month. And instead I wanted to give you guys Rampage, which I feel is kind of underrated, and I'll get more into that at the end of the show. But as our movie opens, Athena 1, a space station which is owned by the gene manipulation company Energene, has been destroyed after a lab rat mutates and wreaks havoc. Carrie Atkins, the lone surviving crew member, manages to escape in an escape pod, along with pathogen containers that Energine CEO Claire Wyden has ordered her to retrieve when the station implodes. However, the pod disintegrates upon re-entry, killing Carrie in the process and leaving a trail of debris across the United States. One canister is swallowed by a crocodile in the Florida Everglades, while another lands in a Wyoming forest where a wolf is exposed to the pathogen. We then meet Davis Okoye, a primatologist and former United States Army Special Forces soldier, as well as a member of an anti-poaching unit who works at the San Diego Wildlife Sanctuary. Now, Davis has befriended a rare albino western lowland gorilla named George that he saved from poachers who killed his mother. Davis and George are able to communicate with each other via sign language. And one of the Energine containers lands in George's habitat, exposing him to the pathogen. As a result, George grows considerably larger and becomes way more aggressive. Davis is tracked down by a genetic engineer, Dr. Kate Caldwell, who explains that the pathogen was developed by Energene in order to rewrite genes on a massive scale. Kate had hoped to advance research on CRISPR as a potential cure for diseases, but then she discovered Energene's plans to use it as a biological weapon and was falsely incarcerated as a result. During her time in jail, her terminally ill brother passed away. George escapes from captivity and begins to go on a rampage at the preserve. George is calmed, but is soon captured by a government team led by Agent Harvey Russell, who decides to put George onto a Boeing C-17 Globemaster III airplane. Meanwhile, Claire and her brother Brett oversee a mercenary team's attempt to capture the mutated wolf, Ralph, which ends in failure and the slaughter of the entire team. Claire, hoping to capture Ralph and use George to cover up her plot, uses a massive transmitter atop the Willis Tower in order to lure the animals who are engineered to respond aggressively to certain radio frequencies to Chicago. With absolutely no concern about the massive risk to the civilian lives that this will pose. George, of course, reacts violently to the frequency and ends up making the plane crash, although Davis, Kate, and Russell are able to parachute to safety. Now, George also survives the crash and he joins up with Ralph as they make their way to Chicago, while Davis and Kate are aided by Russell in stealing a military helicopter to continue their pursuit. They arrive to find George and Ralph tearing through the city as the military struggles to fight against them. The situation worsens, however, when the mutated crocodile, Lizzie, joins George and Ralph, resulting in even more casualties. Davis and Kate infiltrate Energene's base of operations in an attempt to steal an antidote to turn the animals back to their normal selves. They are able to claim several vials of it, but they are caught by the Widens as Claire reveals that the antidote only eliminates the enhanced aggressiveness of the animals rather than completely reversing the effects. Claire then shoots Davis, but he's able to survive. And when George climbs to the top of the tower, Claire orders Davis to distract it while she attempts to escape with Kate at gunpoint. Kate slips a vial of the antidote into Claire's handbag and pushes her towards George, who swallows her along with the vial, which is able to return him to his normal personality. Meanwhile, Russell then takes a laptop with incriminating evidence from Brett, who is crushed to death by falling debris. As the damaged tower begins to topple, Davis and Kate are able to survive by crash landing a helicopter on the Federal Plaza. Davis hangs back in order to help George defeat the other animals, while Kate and Russell rush to prevent the military from deploying a MOAB against them. George fights Ralph, whom Davis tricks into advancing towards Lizzie, who then decapitates him by using her jaws. Lizzie then chases Davis, but George intervenes just in time for Davis to incapacitate her using grenades. However, Lizzie survives and overpowers George, who is impaled by a Reaper. Davis is able to distract Lizzie by using a fallen Apache attack helicopter, but is nearly killed before George stabs Lizzie through the eye with the same Reaper, killing her. With the threat neutralized, the airstrike is aborted, and in the aftermath, George and Davis are joined by Kate and Russell to help clear the city of debris and rescue civilians as our movie comes to its end. When I heard that The Rock was going to be in another video game movie, I was severely skeptical. I had my doubts. And then Rampage came out, and I saw it. And honestly, I had forgotten Rampage was a video game at first. You know, it came out in the early to mid 80s. Yeah, it's something I played, but it was something that was kind of forgotten, not near the hype and the praise and the longevity that things like Pac-Man and Frogger and Space Invaders and Centipede and those type of games, Pole Position, it doesn't get that type of acclaim these days. So I had completely forgotten about Rampage until I saw George the Gorilla, and I was like, holy crap, I remember this now. And the movie was so much better than I had anticipated, leaps and bounds better than Doom, which is why I chose this over that to review this month. But it's such a good, heartfelt story. The whole relationship between Davis and George is so sweet. And the fact that even as George is starting to become more and more out of control, when Davis gets there and gets in front of him, still able to communicate with him. It's very much the same kind of symbiotic relationship that Natasha Romanoff has with the Incredible Hulk. Now, hey, big guy, sun's getting real low. Able to calm him down, turn him back from the Hulk into Banner. It's very much a similar relationship between Davis and George. Once George has gone full tilt, Davis can't get through to him until he takes the antidote and returns to his normal mind state. Much like how, at the end of Age of Ultron, Hulk goes crazy and leaves, and when Nat tries to talk to him over the video system, turns it off. He's just out of that mental state. He needs to come to his senses on his own. He needs that antidote, which comes in Thor Ragnarok. But in this one, obviously, there's a legitimate antidote that George takes to bring him back down to normal. But it's very much a similar relationship. And I think that's why I really enjoyed this film, because I always enjoyed the Natasha Hulk relationship. When it comes to my rating for this film, it shouldn't be a surprise. I enjoy it that much. I'm going to give it 4 out of 5 stars. Definitely not the perfect movie. I can't even really give it 4.5 stars, but 4 stars I feel is a solid rating for this film. I'm curious to know what you guys think. If you're watching the premiere, leave your thoughts and comments over here. If you're watching on demand later in the day, leave your thoughts and comments down here. Let's engage in that conversation though. What do you guys think of Rampage? Let me know. Make sure you guys tune in on Friday, right here to the Casa D18 Studios channel for another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews, where we wrap up our last full week of Dwayne Johnson movies with Skyscraper, starring Dwayne Johnson, Nev Campbell, Chin Han, Roland Moeller, Pablo Schreiber, and Hannah Quinlivan. You're not going to want to miss out on that one this coming Friday, right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, right here on another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews. To all my loyal fans and viewers out there, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you like, share this video, share it with your friends, your family, movie lovers, cinephiles, etc. Let's get the word out there. Let's boost the views up. Let's get this cracking into YouTube's algorithms so that I can get a little bit more exposure. It's going to help me a lot, and I greatly appreciate all of you guys that have done that and will continue to do that for me. Thank you for tuning in today. I greatly appreciate it, and I will see you guys Friday.